just seeing people I haven't seen in years come over and stand with us and support. It's unbelievable.
So when you, this is why.
That was an emotional Dr. Kirk Moore shortly after finding out the charges against him had been dropped. Dr. Kirk Moore was facing prosecution for injecting patients who were mandated to get the clot shot with saline instead of the experimental vaccine. More on that is coming up. Welcome to Christy Lee's DC Dispatch. Coming up, LindellTV's Allison Steinberg joining me with the latest out of DC. But first, we have so much to catch up on over the weekend. 1 year after the shocking assassination attempt on then candidate Donald Trump in Butler, Pennsylvania, we are learning new details. The Secret Service and FBI are under fire for major security lapses. According to Real Clear Politics, a Senate report revealed the agencies failed to share critical threat intelligence, and only 6 agents faced suspensions, with some calling it a slap on the wrist. Despite reforms like drones and new command posts, questions linger about accountability and whether enough has been done to prevent another tragedy. Now, here's what President Trump had to say about the anniversary of the attempt on his life.
On this 1-year anniversary of Butler, what was going through your mind this morning when you woke up? I know that you're praising God you're alive, but a lot of people want to know how you're taking this day on this 1-year anniversary.
God was protecting me. Maybe because God wanted to see our country do better or do really well, make America great again. But God was protecting me, Brian. I'll tell you, it's the more you think about it, the more you see it. But no, I don't like to think about it much. You know, I have a job to do, so I don't like to think about it much. It's a little bit of a dangerous profession being president, but I really don't like to think about it too much. I think you're better off not thinking about it.
But Trump has been under extra scrutiny lately for his handling of Epstein, brushing off questions after promising on the campaign trail to release it all. Many have been blaming Attorney General Pam Bondi for the Epstein file fallout. Recent Bondi actions point to that she could be trying to redeem herself. On Friday, we told you about Bondi's involvement in pursuing prosecution against Dr. Kirk Moore, who gave his patients a choice when they were coerced to take the experimental COVID jab. And you saw his emotional reaction on getting those charges dropped. Here's what she had posted over the weekend. She said, "At my direction, the Justice Department has dismissed charges against Dr. Kirk Moore. Dr. Moore gave his patients a choice when the federal government refused to do so. He did not deserve the years in prison he was facing. That ends today." Dr. Mary Bowden celebrates the end of the Moore persecution, but has pointed this out. He's free, but the process is the punishment. He's been in limbo since January of 2023, wondering if he was going to spend the rest of his life in prison with $782,000 in legal fees. Share and help if you can. Dr. Mary Talley Bowden, she will join me later this week with more reaction on that case. In other Pam redemption news, there's this, a big shakeup at the Justice Department. CBS News reports that Attorney General Pam Bondi has fired over 35 employees, including prosecutors who worked on special counsel Jack Smith's Trump investigations and January 6 Capitol riot cases. The staffers were identified by the Justice Department's so-called weaponization working group, which Attorney General Pam Bondi established as one of her first priorities after she was confirmed, according to one source. Even after the Epstein file flop, President Trump seems to be committed to keeping Bondi in place. In a lengthy True Social, I'm sure many of you saw, he said, "What's going on with my boys?" And in some cases, gals, they're all going after Attorney General Pam Bondi. We're on one team, MAGA, and I don't like what's happening. Trump urged supporters to let Pam Bondi do her job. She's great, and dismissed the Epstein case as a distraction. But we also heard over the weekend if Bondi were to stay, then FBI Director Kash Patel and Deputy Director Dan Bongino could be out. Patel went ahead and addressed this head on in an X post. He said the conspiracy theories aren't true, never have been. It's an honor to serve the President of the United States, and I'll continue to do so for as long as he calls on me. But it does seem a little bit more murky when it comes to Bongino about what exactly happened there. It was many were reporting there was quite the spat between him and Pam Bondi. Allison Steinberg has been following all the Epstein drama with me. She joins me now live from DC. Allison, so do you think we're going to get to see Dan Bongino stay in place, or do you think he'll ultimately hit the road?
Well, it's hard to say at this point. I wish that I had time to figure out if he showed up for work today, because I know there was rumors swirling that he wasn't going to be in the office if this continued, if Pam Bondi got to stay. He was threatening to leave, as you touched on. So I'm not sure whether or not he was at work today, but I do know he's very upset about this, and I don't think he's just going to drop it. It's weird, though, because with Bongino, you know, he sort of did go along with this whole concept of, you know, this is the story. Epstein killed himself. No, nothing more to see here. Case closed, right? He was kind of going along with this, which we were all shocked by because he's been so vocal about it previously. Now he seems to be very upset because of all of the backlash that he's received from the MAGA base as a whole. So I don't know. Maybe this is going to be it for him. He did say, you know, if Pam Bondi gets to stay, then he's out. So that's still yet to be determined what actually comes of it all. President Trump was actually asked about Bongino over the weekend as he was unboarding the plane. Let's take a listen to Trump's latest remarks on Bongino and where he stands with him.
Oh, I think so. I did. I spoke to him today. Dan Bongino, very good guy. I've known him a long time. I've done his show many, many times. And he sounded terrific, actually. No, I think he's in good shape.
I was going to ask you, on this one-year anniversary of
He said he thinks he's in good shape, which is an interesting response. I don't know if that's really applicable to the situation or what he actually meant by that, but I thought it was kind of funny.
I feel like it's purposely vague.
Yeah, maybe that's it. That sounds like something Trump would do. Yeah, so I don't know. The verdict is still out on Bongino. I haven't heard anything further from him today, but as you mentioned, there was that big spat in the White House between him and Pam Bondi, so I guess we'll stick around and see what happens there. It's definitely still a pressing matter that many are fascinated with, and I think we are all still eagerly awaiting answers. President Trump, I don't know how much more he's going to want to go into detail on this. He seems to want to just be done with it, from what I can tell, but I don't know. Maybe there's something more to it that we don't know, and something will come out in the future.
Well, that's exactly what Mike Lindell, the father of the ship, and I were just discussing in his show previous to mine, is that there is so much that we cannot be privy to. There could be a lot more going on in the background that we don't know about. But in light of the fact that there's not more transparency at this point, there's many people that are coming up with their own theories. Seems to be the theory winning out is that it could be some kind of national security concern because he was very clearly working with the intelligence agency. That's the latest out of Mike Benz. Let's go ahead and watch what he had to say.
I gave my thoughts, Mike. I have a hard time believing that they were sitting on evidence of their crimes for a long time and just without shredding them or deleting them. I just have a hard time believing it's still there, to be honest with you.
Yeah, me too. I mean, it's a strange sequence that we ended up here. It looks like there was somebody maybe inside DOJ who gave this Justice Department memo to Axios. It doesn't look like the DOJ has formally acknowledged this at this point. As of the time of our recording, there's been very loud cricket sounds that I hear outside, but no kind of official acknowledgement. In fact, Axios even deleted the document that they uploaded so that even in the article itself, you can no longer see it. But of course, the internet pulled that immediately. And now we're here where the official word is no client list. The suicide estimation by the FBI is now being ratified by DOJ. And this is definitely an escalation in terms of what had been hinted at through FBI earlier. DOJ is the keeper of the interagency and the interagency secrets. FBI is, of course, primarily for domestic intelligence. It's the intelligence arm of DOJ, but FBI is firewalled from CIA on many things. And it has been my contention all along that what you're dealing with Epstein is the CIA network, not the FBI network. In fact, the FBI, to the extent that this was an intelligence asset or an intelligence network around Epstein, the FBI would be studiously firewalled off from that in order to avoid giving a legal predicate for federal law enforcement to make arrests of folks who were involved in U.S. statecraft or any sort of international statecraft or intelligence that the U.S. wants to keep going.
So a little bit of a dated video there, obviously, from the beginning, but he's been pretty consistent on saying that very clearly he was part of intelligence. Now, something else, with all the names being thrown around, or, oh, it's not being released because this person or that person is on it. People were also alleging that Bannon had something to do, was more friendly with Epstein than we knew about. But basically what we're finding out is that he had been working on a documentary called Monsters, and he was asked about that. I found this really interesting, asked about that at that TPUSA event. And here's what he had to say.
Real quick, Steve, big fan of your show. Just want to ask, in 2019, you did an interview with Jeffrey Epstein for a documentary you're making called Monsters. That interview never came out. Would you be willing to release that footage, and why hasn't the footage been released already?
We're going to release the film, the 5-part series, next year, early next year.
Yeah.
You're going to see it. And by the way, the entire thing is how the elites in the intelligence services are inextricably linked with, it's what Tucker said last night. You're going to have to name names, and you're going to have to understand how the elites in the world, but also the intelligence services are inextricably linked in Epstein's story. That's the key.
Awesome.
Sure.
When we don't know that much, we grasp at straws. So the thing that sticks out to me about that is he says it's going to be released early next year. So to me, it's like, so what happens between now and then that he's holding off for it to be released early next year? And it also makes you wonder if the timing of these things are held because of wanting something to come out just before midterms, all kinds of thoughts. What are your thoughts, Allison?
Oh, that's a great point, and certainly something that I think is valid in this case. I mean, if you have the information that was filmed back before 2020, why not put it out now? What's the holdup, and why have you waited so long, right? So that is very interesting, the timing of all that, especially, with the midterms ahead. If we have anything to, incriminate these people involved with the Epstein scandal, then why wouldn't we put it out immediately so we can get to the bottom of this once and for all? Why would we hold back on putting forth information that could be completely instrumental in, let's say an upcoming election, as you just mentioned, Christy? So I think the timing is very suspicious. It certainly makes me wonder why he would do that and why he wouldn't just come forward with that information now. If he has it, at least give us a little teaser or something, put out something for us to chew on in the meantime. But I don't know, I guess we won't get that. So that is certainly unfortunate. And I do think this issue is massive to the MAGA base. Of course, it's been going on for weeks now, the ongoing controversy, and the MAGA base largely upset at the outcome of this, the lack of action from our DOJ here. And I think this is a huge issue that could ultimately be detrimental to MAGA and dividing up the base. It could absolutely interfere with the midterms coming up here. So I think it's huge, and I think we need to get to the bottom of this as soon as possible. I'm praying President Trump has another approach up his sleeve, as we touched on at the top of the show, that we just don't know about yet, and there's more to this that we just can't know or learn at this point in time. But I mean, if we don't get some answers here, I think it is going to be very devastating for MAGA as a whole.
Also devastating for the people that perhaps knew too much. I noticed that Whitney Webb had posted that she had taken kind of a leave from the social media universe to attend to some, I believe it was health issues, but she said she's going to be coming out with some more reports to answer some questions. I know she's done a lot of work on this in the past with talking about blackmail and how that works in governments. And so the minute I read that, I'm like, well, she better say she's not suicidal. And and then none other than Ghislaine Maxwell, it sounds like she's indicating she may want to talk, but can we trust her?
Well, that's the question that certainly crossed my mind when I heard that. Now, would it be good to hear from her? Sure, I would like to. That's, I'll take what she says with a grain of salt, of course, but I think, we need to be putting forward all the information that we can at this point in time. And if she's going to speak up on the issue, then why not? It's certainly is interesting because now we have Democrats rallying for this to happen, sort of taking an opportunity to seemingly call out everything that conservatives have called out for quite some time pertaining to the Epstein list and wanting answers. So it's fascinating to see the tides turn. Of course, I think they're doing it for the reason that they think Trump is going to be implicated in it all, which I don't know if that's necessarily true. I don't think it is. I think had it been true, they would have wanted this and put it out much sooner. But the point is now Democrats have a very similar rhetoric to us conservatives, and they are in fact calling for investigations around this. And I think it's Jamie Raskin is wanting to hear from Dan Bongino and Pam Bondi and Kash Patel. Let's take a listen to that clip.
We may not have the video clip there.
Oh, we may not
sorry,
have the clip.
We don't
Okay,
have the video
that's okay.
clip of that. But yes, he is now funny that he's so all over the place. But Jamie Raskin, yes, now he is demanding for subpoenas from them. It makes you wonder. It's like, man, you were silent about this all the way up until now. Like, what's the point in that? I mean, but anything that they can drum up to take advantage of the skepticism and the discontent, obviously they would do that. Meanwhile, we have other revelations going on, so this is distracting from progress in other areas, particularly when it comes to the auto pen use. What can you tell me about the latest there?
Yes, that's right. There's the AutoPen scandal does continue. There's new information out on this today. Reports now claim that President Biden did not personally sign all of the AutoPen pardons. In fact, his White House chief of staff, Jeff Zients, allegedly approved many of these pardons, including Dr. Anthony Fauci's. This is New York Times confirms this. Reportedly, Biden verbally gave consent to do this, but did not actually sign it himself. Now Biden is coming forward and stating just that. He orally granted all of the pardons and commutations issued at the end of his term. And he says, quote, "I made every decision," and is now calling Trump and other Republicans who have brought awareness to the AutoPen scandal, quote unquote, liars, claiming his aides had used AutoPen with his authorization. So it's very interesting. I mean, my question still remains, will these AutoPen pardons be invalidated now that we know that his aides was signing off on them? Perhaps Biden did give oral consent, but I mean, is there any way to prove that? I don't know. Did Fauci commit crimes against humanity? Absolutely.
It would have to go hand in hand with the other investigation into if he was truly of sound mind. And, they certainly didn't get anywhere recently with Biden's doctor who pleaded the fifth on every question when it came to what he knew, when he knew it, as far as his competency and health levels. So it certainly seems like it would go hand in hand with, okay, you can say you knew about this, but like, do you even know where you're at today? I mean, and
exactly.
go back and prove that perhaps his cognitive abilities were hampered far earlier than obviously was revealed. But I mean, it does seem, now you have even people like Jake Tapper and the like writing books about, the big secret none of us could have known, even though we were all talking about it. But if they're going to admit that there was cognitive issues and a decline then certainly something that was done like the day before he left office you would think be called into question on if he truly knew and understood what was happening with the use of that auto pen, because it wasn't him that was. We already know that it wasn't him that was doing that.
Right. Yeah, it is certainly an issue that is at top of mind for me, namely because I want to see Fauci arrested and thrown behind bars where he belongs. I mean, he literally committed crimes against humanity, forced innocent Americans to get a poison injection without informed consent, without disclosing what was in this poison shot, and took people's livelihoods and jobs away for those that didn't want to participate. It's disgusting. And I think this, along with the Epstein issue, are two of the biggest scandals in our recent history that we need to be held accountable for by these people who committed the crimes, right? And I don't feel like we are getting that at this point in time. I want to see Fauci arrested. I want to see the Epstein case, brought to justice. These are two of the main issues for MAGA that we are still holding out on. Now, again, does that mean arrests are coming? I sure hope so, but I also don't want to sound like a whack job who's high on hopium telling everyone, oh, don't worry, it's going to happen. So I think we just need to continue to press the White House on this issue. We have to continue to be vocal about it. And in fact, today, Rand Paul he tweeted out that he will reissue his criminal referral of Anthony Fauci to the Trump DOJ. So that's good news. I was wondering about this. I wonder about this daily. When will Fauci be held accountable? So maybe something will happen now. I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. But it would be great if Pam Bondi and her DOJ could start taking action here, though. I don't know. Based on recent events, I don't know if I'm too hopeful. So I guess time will tell.
Well, it does seem like she is on her redemption tour, trying to find other things that she can make happen or take action on in order to satisfy the disgruntled MAGA base. So I think this is the best time for us to raise our voices, what we expect and what we want to happen, because it does appear that she's listening, as I gave some examples of that earlier. But Allison, you are kind of on your own today. So anything you want to tease ahead to that you're working on, what we're going to see from you later on?
We'll have, I'll be on with Vanessa Broussard on the Spin Room later today at 4 p.m. Eastern. So stay tuned for that. We'll give you live updates there. And then I will be making an appearance on with Rudy Giuliani tonight on his show at 7 p.m. Eastern. So stay tuned for that. We'll keep you guys updated with all developments here at the White House. And hopefully I can get some questions to some of these officials that I see roaming around from time to time and get some more answers for you. So stay tuned for that.
Well, you're wearing a lot of hats today, so you just do your best and try and stay cool out there. I know you said it's kind of a muggy day. So thank you so much, Allison, for your conversation as always.
Thank you so much, Christy. Always a pleasure.
You bet. Up next, we are going to cover another potential Pam problem that the Trump administration might be up against, as well as we have a guest coming up, Ernest Ramirez, a father that suffered indescribable loss, but he is a father that has turned freedom fighter because of it. He's going to be joining me as well coming up. But first, let's take a quick break to remind ourselves of what we need to do to keep this kind of programming on the air, which is to support the sponsors that make it possible. So please keep that in mind, and we'll be back on the other side.
Whether it's being a weekend warrior or spending time with your family, feeling your best is the key to doing the things you love. That's why I'm excited to tell you about Nirvanta. It's a natural solution designed to help you stay active and live well naturally. Nirvanta is a topical blend of all natural essential oils like frankincense, myrrh, and a proprietary gold standard plant stock extract. It's perfect for your hands, feet, knees, back, or anywhere else that needs a little extra care. Use Nirvanta proactively as part of your daily maintenance routine, and you're guaranteed you're going to feel the difference. Simply massage Nirvanta in for at least 60 seconds, 2 to 3 times a day to get the best results. And if you're not completely satisfied, you get your money back. No questions asked. There's simply no risk and no reason not to try Nirvanta today. Right now, you get 15% off with code Lindell exclusively at nirvantahealth.com. So stop reaching out for that medicine cabinet. Get Nirvanta instead and experience the difference. Go to nirvantahealth.com. Use code Lindell to get 15% off today. Nirvanta Health. Live well naturally. swollen limbs, joint pain, inflammation, skin aging, and cognitive decline. These are just a few of the awful side effects that you can experience due to poor blood circulation. And popping ibuprofen is not a solution to the pain. It's only temporary relief, and it's only masking the true problem, which is inflammation. Researchers are saying to add this Antarctic super nutrient to your diet. I'm talking about omega-3 fatty acids, but not just any form of omegas. These particular omega-3 fatty acids are sourced from wild-caught krill. Has been shown to support healthy blood pressure, circulation, brain health, as well as reduce inflammation, swelling, and joint pain. For a limited time, you can grab Native Path Antarctic Krill Oil for up to 66% off plus free shipping. Just go to getkrill.com/Lindell right now to get your special offer.
Back to Christy Lee's DC Dispatch. You know, earlier in the show, we were talking about heightened scrutiny over Attorney General Pam Bondi, and, you know, actions she's taking that seem to be ways to redeem herself. But then my friend Alex Jones posted a video on the X platform earlier today saying that her DOJ just blocked the HHS, FDA, EPA from removing that poisonous fluoride drinking water. And so here he is with that message.
You've got this action by the Solicitor General, officially under Pam Bondi, to appeal this federal court ruling that says take hydrofluorosilicic acid out of the water. Now, states across the country, led by Utah, are now passed laws to pull it out. Kennedy is once a federal ban. He's been pushing it. Even the top FDA and EPA scientists are all on record. And then there's major law groups that have been winning cases. We'll put their sites and X post up here. And we just saw the FDA come out last week and say, under Kennedy's direction, he doesn't control it, but he's advisory, you need to take all the fluoride out of the different children's medications that they just add to it to strengthen the power of whatever the drug is. It's an adjuvant, it's an accelerant, it's an amplifier, but it's a serious neurotoxin, and so that's now out. They've now ordered the drug companies to stop it. So what Kennedy can do, he's doing a great job on, but more and more he's being blocked by the goalies that is the DOJ. So this is a hands down known fact of how deadly hydrofluorosilicic acid is and what it does to our bodies, how it's lowered U.S. IQs massively. If you go to any big grocery store, there's finally phasing it out, but for 30 years, they have formula water for babies fortified with fluoride, way even above the level they admit causes serious brain damage, infertility, neurological disorders, cancer, you name it. So this has been done on purpose to dumb us down. They don't just teach 2 + 2 = 5 in school with Common Core to dumb you down with a curriculum. They do it chemically. And we are the most drugged up, most unhealthy people in the world. Rather than ban glyphosates, they just got approval for one that's 45 times stronger to be sold over the counter. Hey, if you want breast cancer or testicular cancer, or you want to, get pancreatic cancer, this is the way to go. So when it comes to the chemical companies, Trump is really, and his people are really doing some bad stuff. And I've held my tongue on Susie Wiles and Pam Bondi being part of those big legal consultancies that work for the big chemical companies and Pfizer and others. But now it's clear. I'll do a whole separate report on this.
Now, I did talk with Mike Lindell about this clip a little bit earlier, and he says, he does not think that Pam Bondi and Susie Wiles are the bad guys in this situation, and, to hold and wait and see when it comes to that stuff. But again, we did have evidence of when we got loud about something, Dr. Kirk Moore spreading the persecution about him. He was being prosecuted by this current DOJ under Pam Bondi for delivering saline shots instead of the COVID-19 shots at his patients' request, essentially. And we got loud about that, and she said she wasn't aware of that situation, and she dropped those charges pretty much immediately. So the key here is to be loud, get loud about the fluoride in the water. We want MAHA progress to be being made. And, MAHA needs to find a way to break through the resistance that may not be coming from those front people that you see, but could still be happening in the background, in the shadows. Either way, a new study from the Czech Republic is raising eyebrows about COVID vaccines and pregnancy. According to Children's Health Defense, research on 1.3 million women shows those vaccinated before conception had a 33% lower rate of successful pregnancies compared to unvaccinated women. Published in the International Journal of Risk and Safety in Medicine, the study is calling for more digging into vaccine safety, though critics point out limitations like missing data on age or health. Okay, so more and more studies are verifying the dangers of the mRNA vaccines. One father wishes he had been given informed consent. He felt like he was just following the advice of the doctors who he's been conditioned to be told know better and doing the best for his son. Well, ultimately, he made the ultimate sacrifice, losing his son to a COVID-19 vaccine reaction, which had enlarged his son's heart, a known risk for the vaccine. So he's been at a crusade ever since, spreading the word about this horrible thing that happened to his son, and also just lending a helping hand everywhere. Such an inspiration. Ernest Ramirez joining me now. Thank you so much for coming on DC Dispatch.
Hello, ma'am. How you doing? Good to see you again.
Good to see you as well. I know you've been keeping busy. You actually were just right here in Texas, where I am helping with flood relief. And I want to talk to you about the latest in MAHA, but you might as well, since you just got back from Texas and helping out there. Tell me what you witnessed, what you think happened. Let's cover that first.
Okay. Yes, well, I do live here in Texas, and I travel throughout the country and abroad. My dear friend, Lieutenant Colonel Pete Chambers, as we all know, he's a wonderful man. He was talking about the floods in Kerrville, and then that same next morning, I packed up and left. I went over there to help with the search and rescue, the cleanup. Well, it's horrible. As everyone knows, I was in North Carolina also doing the same thing with the James Clinic.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, we have to do this, helping each other. Right? I didn't see any government officials there. I didn't see anybody helping other than volunteers. The destruction it was terrible. And then the families, I'd parked somewhere at, Home Depot, gas station, wherever, and I had people coming up to me, asking me or talking to me, telling me their stories. And that's why I tell people it does, I fight for my son. I fight for my vaccine injured. But then I looked over here, and the children that were affected by these storms, and I haven't seen anything natural like that here in Texas before. I had posted where my truck was, and I was standing between the river and my truck, just so people could see the force of the water. I said, the water went all the way up there, and I said, now that you see the force that it took to bend these big trees, I said, now imagine being a baby hanging on for dear life. Their only worries were having fun that weekend camping, and now they were spending days alone in a tree, screaming. I'm pretty sure they're screaming for their parents, and no one around to help them. And it was horrible. It was really, really horrible just to imagine that. I don't want people just to see the disasters. I want them to put themselves in the position of that baby, that little child, going through this whole thing that they had to put up with. And like I said, yes, if I was in charge, I think the following day I would have sent off the National Guard at least to go help with search and rescue. Don't depend on, everyday people, which, like I said, it was beautiful to see all the volunteers there. And working day and night. It was, unfortunately, that's the way we have to be now as a people, as a nation, because, like I said, I don't trust my government. I no longer have. I did, and for trusting them, I lost. So now I'll never do that again. I won't confide in my government or my politicians. I've screamed out. I said, if you're too afraid to stand up for your own people, maybe they should give me the funds and resources so I can do what they should be doing. Like I said, I'm just an average person. I'm not a politician. I'm not an elected official of any sort. I'm not a billionaire, but I do have common sense. I have my Lord and Savior that he's the one that sends me to these places. I don't pick and choose where I'm going. While I was up there, I had people calling me from North Carolina that they were being infected again. Then I had people asking me if I was to be able to go to New Mexico because what was going on over there. I can't be everywhere. I just try to be where I can at the moment. So, like I said, it's horrific what our world is going through. It's coming to an end. People just don't realize it. They think we're making this up or, there's no such thing. It's just something that happens. No, it's not. I mean, like I said, I see it with my own eyes. I try to make people understand. If they ever seen that movie, The Matrix, I feel like Neo. Somebody woke me up and I could see what the world looks like for real. And I would love to go back to sleep. I don't want to know. I wish I didn't know half the things I know now. It's just devastating to me. I mean, it's a curse and a blessing at the same time.
Well, it's amazing to see your journey and how God has uniquely prepared you to help others, taking this ashes situation that you were handed with your son and having to lose him, taking such a horrible situation, and then using you to make beauty out of it in the sense that you're literally able to save lives by warning other parents through your tragedy. You have that deep empathy, like even talking about the other children in the Texas flooding. Now you totally get it. You're totally tuned in and tapped into crimes against our youth, and we do hope that we'll get more answers as to how this could have happened to such a degree. Of course, I've talked to people that are blaming weather control and stuff, and I hope that we do get to the bottom of that, because it seems like over and over they're really attacking us on every level, the population as a whole. But we also see beauty in others. I did listen to a song that someone wrote for you, inspired by your story, and I wanted to share at least some of that song, because for those that don't know your story, it kind of tells your story, and it is quite beautiful. So let's take a moment to listen to that song.
Hitting the road to help others see, so much pain shared unselfishly, to honor his son and repeat his name, standing for life, not for money or fame. A father's love never fails, his son's story he must tell, taken away by evil and lies, knowing that this is a temporary goodbye, speaking from the mountaintop, determined never to stop. Our lives matter, no more dreams shattered. It's a calling from God, a purpose we must. In his words the world must trust. Off to the next place to talk about Junior. Timing is now, but better the sooner. A father's love never fails, his son's story he must tell, taken away by evil and lies, but above he eternally flies. Listen to a story. Remember this talk. A message of sadness and unbelievable shock. But he will honor his son by helping others. At the end of the day, we are all sisters and brothers. A father.
So good. And if you want to see the entire song, you can go to Ernest Ramirez's page there on X. He goes by RGV Runner 01, RGV Runner 01 on X, and watch the whole thing. And just watching that and the pictures, I mean, it's just like gives you goosebumps. And I love that picture of you, and you'll have to forgive me because I can't remember her name, of the little girl that was injured. She was used in the vax trials.
Maddie DeGarry.
Yes. Yes. I love that
Excuse me.
picture of you, just arm around her, you know, and it's just
Yes.
so neat that you all were
She's
affected by
beautiful.
this evil that have brought you together.
I feel like she's my own little girl. I love the heck out of that little girl. I was talking to Steph the other day. I said, the only thing I asked my Lord and Savior for it is I want to be able to see her walk down the aisle one day on her own two legs. She means a lot to me. She does. She went through a lot. And to this day, our government still hadn't stepped in to help her financially or medically. And which is, I mean, I hate it. It's terrifying because I've always said, if like I hurt somebody, I'm going to try to do whatever I can to help that person, you know, knowing that I did wrong. Our government hasn't even bothered to do that. Our government hasn't even bothered to tell me, you know, send me condolences or apologize. At least say, we're sorry for what we did to your son. They haven't done that to me or anyone else that I know of. And like I said, I've had vaccine injured living in their cars. The other day, I had another friend that was kicked out of her apartment because she doesn't have the money. And she doesn't have for her medicals either. So, you know, if they have $20, somebody donates $20 to them, they have to pick and choose. Do I buy a sandwich or do I buy something that'll ease my pain for one day? It's just, it's terrible. Like I said, I wish I was in a better position so I can help everyone.
Well,
I don't know what to do.
It's wild that you say that because I see you always on the move, helping people, helping in all these situations. So you're saying, I wish I could do more, but you already do so much. And we thank you for that. And we want to continue this theme that we keep on coming back to is people need to get loud. They need to continue to put this in the face of this administration, which it appears will listen at times. They've listened on other major topics. And I know that you saw that Pam Bondi did drop those charges against Dr. Kirk Moore after a lot of folks were getting really loud about it. So there's a victory there, right?
I'm thinking the only reason they did that because if they would have went to court, he would have spoke about why he did that and how the people were getting affected, killed, and injured with the vaccine. And they don't want that in the media. I mean, that's just my point of view.
Yeah.
And, that's what I think.
Well, we welcome all points of view because we support freedom of speech on this. And I mean, it's a definitely another angle there, but I definitely don't think we should give up at getting loud about the things that we want to see changed and we want to see more action on. You know, it was really great to see RFK Jr. come out with the other doctors and say that they were removing the COVID-19 vax from the childhood schedule. But then just after that, and I'll spare playing the video clip because I think most know what I'm talking about. It was just like shortly after that we then get this article that the FDA is giving full approval to the Moderna COVID shot, and they're doing it under the guise of we need to keep this approved for at-risk kids. And so I got to believe that's got to be kind of a punch in the gut to see that news coming out, right?
The thing is too, I have a lot of parents telling me that their doctors are trying to convince them into getting their children vaccinated. And I tell them, you know what? I've never said what to do. I've never told anybody to take it or not to take it. I tell them to do your research. I said, at the same time, if they put you in a corner where you feel like they're going to force you to vaccinate your child, do something simple and tell them, okay, let's fill out a paper. saying that you will be financially responsible and medically responsible if my child is injured. And if you're going to drop all liabilities if my child dies, that you will take full responsibility on that part. If you're so pushing this thing so badly, you shouldn't have any problem signing a paper I ask you to sign to protect me, my child, and my family. That's the way I see it. Because, once you're hurt and injured, you're thrown to the side, and then nobody cares. Nobody cares. And the thing is too, some of these children, babies, they still are unable to speak, and they can't tell you it hurts or they feel sick. They have natural immunity. Why don't you give them a chance to grow up? FDA, if we have a bad case of fruits or vegetables, somebody gets sick, they pull it right away. We're going on 5 years already, and people have died and they've been injured. That should be murder and child abuse to me. And why is it still on the market? They continue doing this to the kids. Like I said, I'm not a politician. I'm not in any position to do anything, but we need more people to, like you said, stand up. Don't be afraid. I mean, would you rather lose your child, or would you die fighting to protect that child? That's the way I look at it. That's why I continue doing what I do.
Yeah, and we so appreciate you for doing that, because we really have to continue to hold people's feet to the fire. What do you see next for Maha? What are you involved in coming up that we can support you in? Anything that you can tell us?
I don't have any plans for right now at the moment. I keep getting something inside my mind telling me I need to get to DC, not for any special event, to try to drive that truck around. If nothing else, go up there, sit on the White House lawn just for the attention, and or drive the truck around all the monuments to get, blaring my sirens or whatever, just to get the attention so people can open their eyes. And people are telling me you're gonna get arrested. I said, well, you know what? I think I need the publicity. It's worth it. I have nothing else to lose. It's not like they're gonna hurt me in any way. So it's still in the mix. I'm not sure if I'll make it to DC, but hopefully I will. And wherever I'm asked to go, I go. God's the only one that knows my next steps. Because I feel He put me in this position to do this job. I can't turn my back, because I always feel the day I stand in front of Him, and if He asks me, why didn't you do what I asked you? And I tell Him I didn't feel like it, I'm pretty sure His response would be, well, I don't feel like letting you in my house. So I have to prepare myself. I have to do what He asks.
Yeah, that's a heavy way to put it. Is the best way to follow what you're doing and support you going to your website, juniorsguardianvoice.com?
Yes, ma'am. There, you can also find me on Facebook, Twitter, and X and Instagram. I try to contact, and please, for those that do send me messages, if I don't answer you right away, you got to realize I have thousands and thousands of people contact me on a regular basis. And then with brain fog, it's hard for me to remember all the messages or who sent me what messages. But bear with me, and I'll try to get back as soon as possible.
Yes, you're doing a lot of God's work, as we've already discussed. Well, thank you so much for everything that you're doing, for raising awareness, and please don't stop. And we want to help continue to support you and make our voices loud as well. We just cannot give up on this. So again, thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. I really appreciate the time.
You bet. All right, we're going to see if I can hit a check of the economy next, but we want to take another quick commercial break to remind you that we do need ways to support this programming so you can get the truth, freedom of opinion, like we just heard. You only really get it here. Yeah, so we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back on the other side.
The last time President Trump was in office, gold soared 50% and silver went up a huge 53%. Americans who invested in silver and gold during Donald Trump's first presidency are very happy that they did it. And right now, gold continues to soar to the highest numbers in history. These gains are just an appetizer for what's to come. Some market analysis are saying that gold is predicted to rise another 30% in the next year alone. So now's the time to invest in gold and silver, and that's why I partnered with Fisher Liberty Gold. Fisher Liberty Gold is a conservative-owned and operated precious metals investment company. They even helped my good friend President Trump get elected through their contributions to Turning Point USA and other conservative groups. I have dedicated my life to ensuring that people get the best sleep ever, and in addition to owning a MyPillow, I can now sleep well at night knowing that you can all protect your savings with precious metals with Fisher Liberty Gold. With Fisher Liberty Gold, you can sleep well knowing that your retirement is secure. And if you call now, you're going to receive your very own presidential gold guide and qualify for up to $20,000 in free silver. But wait, there's more. Call now or text metals to 26786 to receive your presidential gold guide from Fisher Liberty. And for a limited time, I will send you a free MyPillow for qualified accounts. This presidential gold guide from Fisher Liberty will tell you exactly why you need to own gold even while Donald Trump is president. And just by calling in, you get a free MyPillow for a limited time for qualified accounts and up to $20,000 in free silver. So don't wait. Call 1-888-4GOLD-19 or text metals to 26786 today. That's 1-888-4GOLD-19 or text metals to 26786 today to receive your free MyPillow and up to $20,000 in free silver.
Welcome back to Christy Lee's DC Dispatch. You know, Trump's tariffs are making a comeback, and he's keeping us updated on that. Wanted to cover that and some news on the economy. He posted this on Truth, I believe. He said the United States of America has been ripped off on trade and military by friend and foe alike for decades. It's come at a cost of trillions of dollars, and it's not sustainable any longer and never was. Countries should sit back and say thank you for the many years long free ride, but we know you now have to do what's right for America. We should respond by saying thank you for understanding the situation we are in. Greatly appreciated. You know, Trump's tariffs, they are working, and even networks, legacy media hacks like CNBC has had to admit that the tariffs plan, the tariffs Trump agenda is working. Watch this.
I mean, tariffs are already annualizing $2.4 trillion a year, which, if you now compare it to where the budget is, it's actually neutralizing, you know, the current budget. But it hasn't hurt the wallet and consumer confidence, and it hasn't hurt S&P earnings. So I think at the end of the day that we've had enough time pass that investors can sort of breathe a little bit of a sigh of relief and realize the tariffs, they're important to the White House agenda, but they're not going to necessarily derail the economy.
There you go. And Peter Navarro is sounding off on this as well. Here's what he had to say about tariffs.
That's right, Carl. And if you think about this synergistically with the big, beautiful bill, where the Congressional Budget Office comes out with this like reckless, foolish study that fake news ate up, saying that somehow big, beautiful bill was going to cause a $2 trillion increase in the debt. Well, the accounting's totally wrong. It's like, first of all, if you grow a point faster, which is what we will do, the CBO had a really low growth rate assumption. You wipe out $2 trillion of that, so you're about neutral. And then when you add to it all of the tariff revenues we're going to raise, and they're in the trillions. They're in the trillions based on the tariffs that are going to be in place. We wind up with a $2 trillion surplus. Wow. And that's quite a different picture on the big, beautiful bill. And nobody's really telling that story really well.
And there you go, a surplus. Meanwhile, the thorn in the side of the economy has been too late, Jerome Powell. And CNBC is reporting that Kevin Hassett, Trump's National Economic Council director, says the administration is eyeing ways to get rid of him, to fire Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell if they can find cause, pointing to a pricey $2.5 billion federal headquarters renovation as possible ammo for this reason for cause. You know, Trump has said in the past that he doesn't intend to get rid of or fire Powell, but, you know, there is perhaps reason to look into that cause, if you will. Here's the most recent thing Trump had to say on Powell.
I think if Jerome Powell stepped down, it would be a great thing. I don't know that he's going to, but he should. Jerome Powell's been very bad for our country. We should have the lowest interest rate on earth, and we don't. He just refuses to do it, and yet he's spending $2.5 billion rebuilding the Fed, the Federal Reserve building. And I don't know what he knows about building, but you talk about cost overrun. So he got this approved, and he started the work during the Biden administration. And he doesn't look like the kind of a guy, frankly, that wants to spend $2.5 billion. And it's very interesting because out of 71 economists, one person, me, and then one other person, I think from Wharton, got it right, and the others were all wrong in terms of the success of our country this quickly. We have no inflation. We have cash pouring in. It was me and somebody else. And I can tell you, I don't need 5,000 people working for me behind the scenes like Jerome Powell to tell him what he should say once a month, because they got it wrong. The Fed got it wrong. I call him too late. He's always too late. Every point costs us $360 billion. Think of that. And we should be 3 points. That's almost $1 trillion. Approximately $1 trillion less we should be just with the signing of a piece of paper. So we'll see what happens. I mean, you're telling me he's going to quit. I hope he quits. I don't know that he's going to quit, but he should quit because he's been very bad for the country.
Well, looks like he might not intend to quit, because now Jerome Powell is asking for a review, according to Eric Doherty. He said that Jerome Powell is asking for an inspector general review of his $2.5 billion renovation of the Fed building, which has been slammed by Trump and his housing director, Bill Pulte. Per Axios, apparently he's feeling the pressure as he costs our country hundreds of billions of dollars. He says, resign. So, yes, certainly looking political when there's no consistency. He was making cuts for the Biden administration when inflation was not being cut as dramatically, but now he can't do the same for Trump, and even after all of this good tariff news. So just not adding up. But let's go ahead and see what the market is doing. We'll take a quick live look at the market, and looks like we are in decent shape. Looks like S&P 500 near a session high, and NASDAQ eyeing a fresh record. It says despite tariff jitters. You know, they try so hard to make tariffs a thing, like it's going to be a bad thing, but it just doesn't work. As you can see, market doing quite well. But if you don't like those ups and downs, just a reminder to go to MikeLindellGold.com. That's MikeLindellGold.com. You can get some free gifts for doing so. And this helps, again, support the network, LindellTV White House Coverage Live, which you're growing more and more to love, right? But also you can do a good thing for your portfolio in the meantime. Get yourself some gold. And before I go, it would be remiss of me to not to mention my love of MyPillow. Make sure you go to mypillow.com/KL. There's so many great sales going on, as always, that you need to check on. And this is really what part of what funds this operation, being able to bring you some real, authentic, true news, hear from people, unfettered, unfiltered, and we can do that with the help of mypillow.com. Please use promo code KL to support the show. And, you know, we have more to bring you for Lindell White House Coverage Live. And now it is an hour. Now DC Dispatch is an hour. So thank you for that. We're going to have an hour more for you tomorrow of DC Dispatch. But keep it locked in here on Lindell's White House Coverage Live. I'm Christy Lee, and that is your DC Dispatch.